I'm preparing the slides for the upcoming options introduction workshop, but before that, I have something super exciting I want to share with you. Right? In fact, they just arrived into our office today, and all these are the awards, alright, for our students. We are going to mail to them because all of them achieved tremendous return in the past 1 year. In fact, we have like a stack of awards here. We don't have space to lay out for you, but all of them are super like we're super proud of them because they all started, a lot of them with different investing journey, but right now they have all achieved tremendous results. Let me show you one of them. And his name is David, alright? I still remember last year when I was talking to him. For David, right, he has been actually investing for a couple of years, and his name is David, alright? I still remember last year when I was talking.
I don't wanna get in trouble, but every time I hear you laugh, I get into trouble. Wicked, why you gotta be so wicked? And the moment that you caught my eyes, I'm in trouble. I don't wanna get in trouble, but every time I hear you laugh, I get into trouble. Wicked, why you gotta be so wicked? And the moment that you caught my eyes, I'm in trouble.
Is anyone here? What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to On The Fringe. As you can see, I'm kind of alone today. Bill's under the weather. He's down with the sickness. We don't know what he has. I'm not going to speculate what it is. He told us yesterday. But yeah, today we have a good show for you from everybody who responded to the poll that we have. Or we have every time after the episodes now. You guys voted, and today we'll be talking about time travel. Now, I'm I'm alone now, but we have a mystery guest. May not be too much of a mystery, but let me introduce you. Who's gonna keep me company for tonight? We have Eugene. Eugene has been
Hey,
actually
what's up, man? How you doing?
doing good, doing good. Just so everybody knows, on the fringe is Eugene's actually always in all of our streams. He's just sitting in the background watching us and listening. He's playing the role of Elvin for us on the fringe for now. So yeah, how are you excited to be on the fringe for the first time?
Yeah, smooth operating from the back. Usually, just controlling and watching you guys talk. It's different being in front and controlling at the same time as you guys. If you watch a Friday show, you know it's kind of hell. But like what you said, Bill is under the weather, and it might be a mysterious disease.
Yeah, we don't know what it is. We have speculations, but we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Let's look. Ivan, Ivan's around. KK Hing was actually one of the first ones. He got my Disturbed reference. I like that. Sonia's around. Chris Redfield.
Chris
We have
Redfield, that's a new name, isn't it? Chris Redfield. I don't recall
I. Hmm.
Chris. Oh no, I
Oh,
know Chris Redfield. He texted me before. He WhatsApp me.
oh,
Yeah, so yeah, I know him.
oh,
Uh,
Chris, you're
yeah,
from the U.S. All right, I'll actually be in the U.S. in a couple weeks.
yeah,
Not in San Antonio, but welcome to the stream.
yeah.
Welcome to the stream.
Orange Freak, who we all know as well, because he's a huge
He is
ufologies fan.
he is our resident UFO guy
Yeah,
in the Discord channel.
yeah. I know who's this guy. Mark. Mark is our narrator for Friday Confessions, and he actually texted me personally, and he showed me a picture to show you,
Hmm.
Matt. He's drinking Guinness Stout.
Oh, you're
Cheers,
drinking
man.
Guinness tonight.
Yeah,
All
Mark.
right.
Yeah.
Uh, Bad news. I mean, KK Hing kind of alluded to it. Today we have no bill, so we don't have a drunk. We don't have a drunk bill at the end of the show. Eugene's out of alcohol. He's has warm alcohol tonight.
Yeah, won't
I'm
be. I'm out
actually
of beer.
drinking Dr. Pepper. I mean, you can't really find this drink in Singapore, so when I found it, I knew I had to have it. And growing up in the US, Dr. Pepper is the shit. So
Yeah,
if you
that's what I
guys
was
ever
thinking.
get
Dr.
a
Pepper is more
chance,
of a US thing, isn't it?
yeah, dude. I mean, when I found it, I was like, "Oh shit, no, I gotta have it. I gotta find it." And this isn't the original one. This is Dr. Pepper and cream soda,
Ah,
but
yeah, not original.
it still tastes like Dr. Pepper, so it's good.
You know,
Yeah,
being on the fringe, right? This obviously is my first time on the fringe, and I have to do my research as opposed to just sitting back and controlling the the show and
yeah,
producing as a way of an actor. All right, guys, good job. You've done good research. I actually had to do my own research today because I've got stuff to share with you guys. And it's funny
yes,
because you say Dr. Pepper is, a US brand, and a lot of the time traveling content, the phenomenon, really alludes to a lot of very US based stories coming from US.
yeah. And I mean, a lot of the stories that we have are all from there.
And here's the thing, right? I don't know how you survive this, Matt. Week after week, you do your research and you come on and you tell the stories with a straight face. Frankly, after researching for On the Fringe, I kind of feel that my sanity is on the fringe as well.
I mean, again, like I think someone in the Discord channel was asking us, like, is Bill more of the Eugene and Kim, and am I more of the Sonia and Joe? And I guess that's kind of what keeps us sane in the sense, like, because for me, I come from a very scientific background of like what it could be, all this other stuff.
Yeah.
While Bill comes in with the tinfoil hat, like it's the US, it's a conspiracy, it's the government,
The deep
it's
state, the
yeah,
cabal.
it's the Illuminati, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and so I think it's just like when it's the two of us, we jive so well. I
Yeah.
think the only way to not go down that rabbit hole, in a sense, is to kind of draw a line into where you gotta stop, like right before you go, like especially for like time travel. There's like wormholes, there's portals, there's parallel
Yeah.
universes, which to us is a great way to plan our next episodes.
Oh yeah, I found so many possible segues from today's topic alone. But I think
Yeah,
today's topic has a okay. So the thing about On the Fringe is it has some scientific backing, right? It's not all just in the wind. There are a lot of
yeah,
science behind it, and I know you've done your research as well because I seen some of the content. I don't know what you're going to tell me, but I saw a picture of Einstein. So I'm
yes.
guessing Einstein relativity is somewhere in there with the space-time continuum theory.
Yeah, let's go. Let's actually just dive right into it since we're already on that topic. I'm gonna start this episode a little bit different from how we normally would do it, where Bill kind of tells us the background and stuff like that.
Mm.
I'm gonna go into the very scientific. Okay,
Whoa.
not very scientific. I'll try to do my best to not make this a lecture, but I
Okay.
have from my, just so everyone's clear, my background actually, again, a lot of what everybody knows is I'm a zoologist by training,
Mm.
but previously I was actually an engineer. I was doing aerospace engineering.
Ah.
So yeah, I would say I think I know a lot about physics as well.
Okay.
So yes, I am the science guy, Chris. Bill, oh, Matt, the science guy, not Bill, the science guy this time. So we'll actually start off by, let me just share with you what relativity is. So
Are you watching the video
basically,
or not yet?
oh yeah, you know what? Let's throw the video up there. Let's just give you guys a little bit of a sneak preview of what's coming on.
Okay.
Mankind has always been fascinated by the thought of traveling in time. Over the centuries, there have been all kinds of ideas about how it could be done. But of course, time travel is impossible. Or is it? This is the story of Håkan Nordqvist, a man who claims to have visited the future.
Jag hade varit och jobbat på Öland. Och kom hem då och gick in i köket.
Nej, vad fan.
Så var det precis massa vatten på golvet där då. Tänkte, fan. Ja, det är något rör där under diskhon och... Så jag hämtade verktygen då. Och in där och skulle börja dona och grejer och det och massa där. Och nå inte det för det var så långt in i rören där då. Tänkte, vad fan. Jag fick krypa in där och... Ja, bara kom längre och längre in där. Till slut i alla fall så blev det ljust. Jag kunde ställa mig upp på det här. Jaha, och där får jag se mig själv som äldre då, kanske 70 och sånt där.
It would be very easy to dismiss Håkan Nordqvist as a liar. If it wasn't for this.
Som tur var då, för jag tänkte det här kommer ingen tro på. Det finns inte en chans att folk kommer tro på det här. Så jag hade ju med mig mobilen så jag kunde filma det. Ja, vi stod där och tjafsade lite och... Ja, det var riktigt god känsla var det. Hur gött som helst.
Let's suppose for a moment that Håkan Nordqvist is telling the truth. If so, is there an explanation? We asked Hans Carlson, professor in theoretical physics.
Det finns en massa teorier om att resa i tiden. En sådan teori är tvillingparadoxen. Det finns teorier kring svarta hål. Det finns teorier kring maskhål. En genväg mellan två platser i universum. Enligt fysikens lagar skulle dessa teoretiskt kunna uppstå. Sannolikheten är visserligen inte särskilt stor, men de teoretiska förutsättningarna finns så att man kan inte avfärda det.
Nej, men jag vet ju bara att jag träffar mig själv i framtiden och att jag... Nej, men att det här är jävligt gött. Sen får ju folk tro vad de vill.
Håkan Nordqvist stands by his claim, and scientists can't completely dismiss his story. Even so, the question remains, is this really possible? As Albert Einstein once said, the most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It's the source of all true science.
Hopefully that gave you guys a good background of what it is, of what time travel is. That's actually a very interesting. I think I ran into this story maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I think it's quite popular, and when I first heard it, I was just thinking, oh shit, like that's actually really cool. Like imagine meeting somebody I mean, meeting yourself, but like in like a couple years. Yeah, and I think I mean, I think everybody at some point has wanted to go through time traveling and just kind of see like, oh, maybe I can go back in time or go forward in time, find out what 4D or what the lottery was, that number that week, and then, jump back and forth. But I'm just gonna say this first. I'm gonna put this out there. Oh, is I well, is it all of us or
It just seems that I'm muted.
okay.
Okay. I'll
Let's
figure
give
this
him a
out.
sec.
So you go ahead.
Yep. So while he's sorting that out, I'm gonna tell you guys, like, when it comes to time traveling, from a scientific perspective, I would actually say it's theoretically possible if we're looking at the theory of relativity. So just for those who don't know, like I said, I don't want to go in too much detail because it's going to become like a lecture.
Okay.
The theory of oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I think because when you said don't make it sound like a lecture, I was just thinking today, as I was reading up all that, I was like, how do I crunch this very technical explanation of what relativity is and all that into something that you know uh, um,
It's easy
anyone
to
can understand?
understand,
Yeah,
like
without using
the
all the jargon.
layman terms.
Exactly. I wanted
Right.
to say for dummies, but these days and age, people get a bit sensitive, so
Oh, I mean, those people on our stream, I think they're fine.
they could, right? Yeah.
So basically, what relativity is actually a theory that Einstein actually created about 100 years ago. The basic, very stripped down idea of it is that the theory says that time and space are linked together. Um, Einstein also said that our universe has a speed limit, and that is the speed of light. So what this means that for time travel, theoretically, it's possible that the faster you travel, the slower you experience time. And if we were to put that into sort of context, let's say I was flying a plane, or actually, since the video mentioned the twin paradox.
Yeah.
So let's say you had a twin who stayed on Earth and one that went to space and maybe lived up in the International Space Station. That's actually already happened. There were twins who worked with NASA. One stayed up in space for about a year, and one lived on Earth for, I mean, the rest of the time. And technically speaking, he actually aged, like, I think it was 5 to 6 seconds faster. So the gap between the two siblings actually got bigger, which, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a thing that you need to sit down and really wrap your mind around it because it sounds a bit complicated.
Yeah.
But essentially, the faster you travel, the faster or the closer you are at the speed of light,
Yeah.
the slower you will technically age, or time will slow, or you experience time much slower.
But here's the catch as well. If you travel beyond the speed of light, if that was even possible, mathematically
Yep.
they did that crunching. If you could travel beyond the speed of light, you sort of reverse yourself into nothing.
Pretty much. I mean, you technically explode. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the first concern.
But see, then again, this isn't exactly time traveling in the way that I would imagine going back to the past and correct a wrong. It's just time
Yeah.
flows differently from people on
Yeah.
Earth and say in space. So
Yeah.
you don't technically go back and change history. You just age differently. That's all.
Yeah, so I mean, that's why the whole concept with a lot of physicists, like how they see it, um, traveling forward in time isn't it isn't a random phenomenon, or isn't just something that can't be not explained, in the sense it's going back in time. Going back is a lot harder to explain and like wrap your mind around it.
Okay, so I'm gonna try, right?
Okay.
Going back in time. Oh my god, I sound like such a geek here. Okay, so we know 3 dimension.
Yep.
We are here. And in this space around us, we can walk. I can walk to the living room and I can walk back in that space. But time flows, as we now understand or know, flows in one direction. However, it is said that there are ways, mathematical ways, there is a fourth dimension, which is time. And we can move through the scales of time as and when we want, if the conditions are met. And in this case, the conditions required, to just summarize what it would be, right, would be as close to a black hole, a collapse of gravity, and into itself. And that's how wormholes theoretically are formed, right? So that's where the picture is right now. So if you could go into the wormhole, you should be able to come out on the other side in a different time. But to be in exact location in a precise space, that is, randomized. we cannot guarantee.
Yeah, and I mean the whole science or the physics, like how you look at it scientifically, a wormhole is basically if you take time on a plane, on a singular plane, and if you were to bend it into a U shape, the wormhole would have traveled between these 2 points, and what you are living in is then this constant or this loop here.
Are you gonna do the whole Stranger Thing?
Yeah, I mean,
took a hole right through.
Yeah. So basically, like between these 2 planes, after you fold it, or before you fold the time, then there'll be a wormhole that comes through here, and at that point, then we're going into something very, pretty much insane at that point.
But at the same time, as ridiculous as this sound, they have done research to prove in theory that this could work. They also harken back to actually Nikola Tesla. He has been researching, he's been very interested in time traveling, and he has researched extensively on time traveling. And this could be an entire conspiracy theory all on its own for Tesla, but his deaths and all that was actually under very mysterious circumstances. And his work, his research, his time traveling experiment was actually taken, confiscated by the U.S. government under the alien in this case, not the alien, is the foreigner, because Nikola Tesla was in America, so all his work was confiscated. And that's part of how the story with the Pegasus project came about, the Philadelphia project came about. It was said allegedly that the U.S. government was testing Tesla's time traveling experiment, and they made it work. What do you think? What's your take on that?
I mean, I think, if you look at it theoretically, I mean, like I said, it's already a possibility. It could work. It's just that I think right now with the current paradigm of the scientific community and the technology that we already have, we don't have that resources. We don't have the resources to basically produce that amount of energy to, like I said, create a wormhole or to send us shooting thousands of kilometers into space or whatever time. So, I mean, if you look at it from like Marty McFly's theory, maybe the vehicle they had actually, just traveled really fast, and the only thing is they went back in time and not forward in time.
So it's very interesting when you talk about traveling, right? So there's this name that pops up quite extensively when we do our research on time traveling. This is Andrew Basiago. He claimed that he was part of the Project Pegasus from the 1972 to 1982, and that he traveled in time multiple points in time for the last at least 20 times. And he has gone through alternate realities, bumping into himself. And in fact, in one of the very famous picture, maybe later on I'll rip it out and show it to you guys online, he managed to take a picture of himself as a child. He says it's not about traveling super fast speed. And he also further claims his life, by the way, he's 60 years old. He's quite an obnoxious prick, by the way, when I listen to his interview. Very, very firm and stoic in his belief. He says that anyone who says you travel to space, travel through time, you're missing the plot, because the government, this is where Bill's territory is. Right?
We need Bill. Where's Bill?
The deep state would have you believe that they have created this aeronautical relocation center. It's like a device where you go in pretty much like Marty McFly. If you go into this
Mm-hmm.
car, except you don't travel through it, you relocate. You just into another
So,
place.
so it's like a port key from Harry Potter. Is that what you're saying?
Not a fan of Harry Potter, so I wouldn't know that.
Okay,
But
okay.
It's like Diablo porting back to town.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, like, I'm not sure how, if you look at it in terms of physics, how that works, because the only way to sort of set back time, and like I said, I don't really want to go into too much detail with the formulas and stuff, but because there's a lot of constants with the formula in terms of your time dilation. And I think time dilation is one of the areas where time travel is centered around. So the only ways that you can do it is acceleration, speed, and the constant, which is your speed of light. And these are the three areas that, if you look at based on Einstein's theory, is the only way that you can kind of get back in time. Actually, there's a very interesting comment on YouTube about Pixel Gun Boy said, "Can the Hadron Collider do this?" Now, for those that don't know, Hadron Collider in CERN is basically what happens is they are shooting these atoms into each other at the speed of, I think it's very close to the speed of light. I don't think it's the exact speed of light. Technically speaking, when the two collide, it's actually creating a sort of new universe. So that's the idea of unlocking unlimitless potential or energy. That's what the point is. But will it be the key? Maybe. But at that point, are we then are we dabbling in maybe a bit too much? Are we going to create a wormhole and suck everybody else in?
Like in the show with Dan Brown, right? The antimatter.
Yeah.
I don't know. This whole Hadron Collider thing, right?
Yeah.
No one really knows what goes on there, right? We just listen to what the scientist tells us, but
Yeah, I mean,
spend so much money. We go through so many different countries, all taking part with the best brains on board, and you're telling me they have not found anything in the last how many decades?
yeah, and I mean, I think with the CERN Hadron Collider, it's a bit under wraps. I did have some friends in university who went there to just for a sort of a field trip and that kind of stuff to go
Yeah.
and see it. I don't think they got too close to it, but I mean, there's been a lot of stuff that's happened there. There's been accidents that happened there, and I guess maybe not everything's being told, and not everybody knows what's going on.
So again, for the science side, we are looking at speed, but this is only based on the very limited knowledge that we learn in science.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to wear my Bill hat here and say that there's a lot of things that has not been disclosed to us yet.
Yeah.
In fact, some of the things that was said, especially with regards to Nikola Tesla's research, and again, I've got this allegedly from Andrew, so it's not from me. It's stuff that I'm getting off the internet, crunching it together, because there's a lot of hours of podcasts and hours of YouTube out there, some of them really on the fringe of sanity. What we do is we take all this, we do our research, and we present it to you in 1 hour, so that in this 1 hour, after you're done with On The Fringe, you would have, I believe, that level of intrigue and knowledge when you talk to other people about time traveling. So
you have the gist of the story. You have the gist of what we're bringing to you.
yeah, we do the hard work, so you guys get to enjoy this on a Wednesday night.
This kind of conversation, like even with physicists, there are two kinds of physicists. There's your theoretical physicists and the normal physicists. This is a conversation where even theoretical physicists don't really dabble into, because it's too many possibilities of what's going on. And then these are like your people like Stephen Hawking, Albert Einstein, and those that are really up there. Even physicists look at theoretical physicists funny. Like they all have some wires loose a little bit in their head.
So here's a little segue, right? I feel that a lot of the scientists, I'm going to get also flag for this. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching On The Fringe, this is stuff that we talk about that is very fringy. It may sound on a level of insanity and cuckoo to all you guys, but it's called On The Fringe for a reason. We're bringing you pseudoscience, parascience, science that's quantum physics. Of course, we're not quantum physicists, and we are trying our best to just crunch it up for you guys.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So if you hear some stuff and you go, oh my God, are these guys crazy? Then we have done right by this show, I feel.
Yeah, I would. I mean, we're missing Bill, but yeah, I think if Bill was here, I think the crazy factor would be a little bit upper.
So back to my conspiracy theory, right? The universities, they're all controlled by the people who wants to put off a narrative. So if you go off tangent and you find the truth, they will hammer you back, they will discredit you, and your years of education will be finished, your reputation will be finished. So that's how they kind of silence science. And we start looking at science in the last 100 years, there's been so much progress, and then it just dies. No new progress. Everything has got to be based off previous case study. No new discovery. Can you imagine someone comes up today and says, I'm going to challenge Einstein, or I'm going to challenge evolution. People's not going to take kind to that. You know, in fact, you come down with a new concept. Even if the Earth is flat, I'm not saying the Earth is flat. I know a flat earther, by the way.
Oh my God, yeah. If you are a flat earther, please, I need to have a conversation with you. Let's actually have an episode on that, because
I might bring her on. I know.
I need to speak to you and understand.
Yeah. So I think we've looking at science. Again, wearing my conspiracy theory hat, I cannot believe everything that's out there. I think there's some discoveries that have been deliberately put under wraps.
Well, I mean, I completely agree to you. I think even from someone who comes from a scientific background, I think it's sort of the scientific nature to be curious and not always to accept something as the 100% truth. Because I mean, even if you understand how knowledge and the science community is formed, it's all based on particular paradigms. So, in what I mean by a paradigm is what works and what is true for now.
Yeah.
Until something disproves it or something pushes the envelope, and then we'll go into that.
Yeah. According to L. Bielek and Andrew Basagio, these two men are very prominent when you search for time traveling. Andrew, of course, was part of the Pegasus project. L. Bielek, you might have watched this movie even. He's the survivor from the Philadelphia experiment. Any of these names ring a bell to you, Matt?
No, I mean, honestly, in my research, there's only one other group of people that apparently they had a time traveling camera, in a way, or like a viewfinder, and that was actually, they were part of the Catholic Church. They were part of the Vatican. Yeah, they had a camera which basically could take a snapshot of a time way before when.
Whoa. The Vatican is
Yeah.
able to take a snapshot of what? The past? The present?
The past. So what happened before? And according to this story, they were able to look into the time all the way from when Jesus was crucified, even to when Saint Peter became the first pope. And I think it's really interesting, and that's the thing. I mean, as a Catholic, it's curious to know that even they had like Catholic scientists that looked into. I didn't even know they had priests that were scientists, but like it's so insane. I didn't even know until I looked into it, and I was like, damn, that's some crazy shit.
Well, okay. So you talk about the Catholic Church. I was about to get to that as well. And I also saw Wes S.A. sending, are we going to talk about the man from Tourette story about this Japanese
God.
Who appeared in Japan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me. There's so much to talk about. 1 hour may not be
Yeah.
enough. But
Yeah.
let me get to the Catholic Church for a bit, right? So apparently, okay, there is a whistleblower who shared I believe, okay, so I don't get the details here because at that point of time when I was doing this research, it was way over my head. So it was said that this guy traveled back in time to and fro, and there was some part of a conspiracy to send this man back to Jerusalem in the time of the Christ crucifixion. And according to this man, allegedly, everything that was said in the Bible, to his eyewitness account, was true. Is true. And he was supposed to, get this, even saying this makes me want to laugh, right? He was sent back to assassinate Jesus Christ.
Okay.
And Jesus Christ said to him, you cannot kill me. And he says, I need your blood. And Jesus Christ says, here, take my blood. In another story I read, someone went back in time, apparently sent back by the CIA, to film the crucifixion and the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Was it the time when Mel Gibson was Jesus? I mean, it wasn't Mel Gibson. He was the director.
Yeah, I know who you talk. The Cazale fellow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then this is the other part where I think there are forces out there. I'm thinking, right, trying to discredit the truth by putting up false flags, by putting up fake stories, so that people would lampoon and laugh at the real story. So if the stories if there aren't truth to any of these conspiracy theories, why would the agency out there be working so hard to disprove all this?
Okay, I see where you're going with it. But let's actually show the people tuning in some of the evidence that we have. I think a few of these are very common. I think people have seen it before. In this video, you can see it's a beach scene. Apparently, right, there is a time traveler in there somewhere deep in the middle. He looks like Mr. Bean, or at least he's dressed like it. What they say is he's using a mobile phone, which to me, that's a bit of a stretch. I mean, it looks like he's just picking at his fingers to me. I don't know. It's period correct. It looks about right? And then what do you think?
I mean, he could be looking at his nails for all you know.
Dude, I could say, oh, you know that lady over there on the side with the child? They're just ordering a Grab to go back home, or an Uber. You know, it could be anything, dude.
Okay, well, I can't really insist that this is a handphone, but I'm quite sure we'll get more evidence as we move along. How about the next one?
So the next one we have is actually a scene that I think is one of the more recent ones, still a while back ago, but this is back in the World Cup when Brazil were the champions. This is a kind of a weird photo, but the way that I can describe it is only as such. But if you look near his crotch, right, what people say is that thing that is just hanging out there it's a flip phone. And
it's strange to be just looking so closely at another man's cock, but
I
will take your word for it.
I mean, dude, it just looks like a Super 8 camera, or just some of the word. I mean, even look at the background. All the cameras in the background look like they're all just weird. If you show a like someone whose IC number starts with a T, one of these cameras, and that's kids after 2000s. If you show them these cameras, they're gonna think, "Oh shit, these people are from the future, man. What the hell is that?"
Okay, so this one I would agree with you. I don't think I can claim that device at a man's crotch is a future item. But what about this one?
Yeah, this one
is a famous one from.
This is a super famous one from Charlie Chaplin. You know what? I'm not sure what she's doing. She could be picking her ear. I don't know. Maybe she's stressed out. She's like plucking her hair. I don't know. I just thought it was super weird that this was actually filmed. I mean, honestly, it could be Charlie Chaplin's idea. I mean, we don't really know what actually is going on.
Well, it's hard to really say if you put your hand here means you are using a phone, right? We're only putting all this info in because in this time and age we have a phone. But 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we wouldn't think of this as a evidence of time traveling.
Okay, I'm gonna share with you something my wife shared with me recently. Okay. Let me ask you, how do you show you're on the phone? Like if you're trying to non-verbally describe to someone like that, right? You're on the phone, right?
Yeah.
So apparently, if you do this to kids of the new generation, they have no idea what this means.
Really?
This is not a phone to them.
No. What is this?
They don't know. And then you ask them what is a phone then? Apparently it's this.
What? Really?
Apparently this is the phone.
This is going to sleep. This is me sleeping.
See, exactly. And apparently it's I was so shocked when my wife told me too, but this is no longer what a phone is.
Hold on, guys. Anyone watching this right now, watching Matt and I talking about this, if you are a young person, could you confirm with us in the chat, in the comment section, if you know what this is, or is this phone? But who uses a phone like this anyway, man?
Dude,
This is
yeah,
me wanting
so
to slap the person. Huh?
that's exactly what I thought. Like, but it makes sense. Like, this is how you would put your phone to your head.
Okay.
And I mean, like, the old ones is because, like, there's the receiver, and then there's the part where your voice goes in. That's how you go on the other side.
What if, okay, so according to Munia, her ear pain. Oh, it's a toothache. Oh. According to West, two-finger gesture is because we used,
Yeah. Now, we used to use the landlines.
Then you'd be like that, right?
So one,
With a cord.
yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, now it's just a hand, just a palm.
Right. Okay, so this one, inconclusive for me. I'm not buying that she's from the future. But the next one,
This is, I think, one of the most famous time traveling photos there is.
the time traveler.
Well, honestly, dude, I mean, I think I wouldn't say he's from the future. I think he's actually of that timeline, but I think he is truly still a hipster. His fashion sense is way beyond that time frame.
I don't know. Okay, so for people, first thing, when I see this, it's like, Photoshop lah. But we did our research. Again, it's a famous photo. They found the original, and many experts have studied the photo. It is not a fake. It is not Photoshop. This guy exists in that time. This would be what, 50s?
I would say probably the 50s, maybe 60s.
Do they have t-shirts like that back then?
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I mean, we don't know what's under that hoodie, but so wait, what do you think it is? Like, what is your point of view first? Because there's actually been studies on this photo.
He would be, I would imagine, in 1950s, if he dressed like that, he'll be ridiculed, and he might not be accepted in the crowd standing there because they would be very judgmental.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. But so the background behind this photo, I mean, there is no actual background. This is actually from the opening of the Golden Gate Bridge, if I'm not wrong. And according to historians, this style actually did already exist in that time frame. It's just that the people around him were of the higher class. And everything that you see on him, the sunglasses, the sweater, the hoodie, or the shirt, all existed at that point already.
Okay, so somebody, a young man, could look at our video right now, see me with a hat in Andy Bogart style, and seeing you with all singlet and tats, looking badass motherfucker, then they would think that we are actually connecting from a different timeline.
Yeah, exactly. It could be the case. I mean, we are. I mean, we are from a different timeline. It's just I'm not a T generation. But yeah, I think it's like there's so many possibilities in what all this could be.
Yeah. Since we're talking about stories, right? Do you mind if I send you a link? There are 7 different stories here. We may not have to read all, depending on the time that we have. I think it'd be quite cool if you read one and I read one, and we kind of like swap along the way.
Yes, let's do it. You can start off.
Okay, let me send this to you first. Oh, you have the link, right?
I have it. Yep, I have it.
All right. Okay, so this one. Okay, so you've heard of us talking about stories and showing you evidence of time travelers, potential time travelers. That's what people are claiming. Let me tell you some more damning evidence of people who survived time traveling. In 1901, 2 English women named Anne Moberly and Elena Jourdain took a vacation to France. Where they were there, they visited the Palace of Versailles. And while they were at Versailles, they visited what was known as the Petit Trianon, a little chateau on the palace grounds that Louis XVI gave to Marie Antoinette as a private space for her to hang out and do whatever it was that a teenage queen did, was relaxing back then. While they were there, they claimed they saw some odd occurrences. They say they spotted people wearing very old clothing, heard mysterious voices, saw buildings and other structures that were no longer present. And they caught sight of Marie Antoinette herself, sitting there in the garden drawing in her sketchbook. They claim to have fallen into a time sleep and briefly transported back more than 100 years before being jolted back to the present by a tour guide. Now, if one person were fallen to that vision, it might be just able to be excused. But two of them at the same time, are they both lying? Or if it is true, how do you explain that? So that is the time travelers from 1901.
Interesting. Man.
Okay. What did you mean as a second time traveler? Ladies and gentlemen, this is stories that we're going to share with you. Feel free to debunk it, to rationalize it, leave us comments on the chat group, or if you believe it, let us know as well. Again, we're not here to prove or disprove. We're here to share with you some stories from time travelers.
I want to start from the back because I actually alluded to this story just a bit earlier. So there was a priest, a Catholic priest, and this is exactly what it's actually called, a chronovisor, right? So the Catholic priest, Father Francois Brun's book in 2002, okay, it's the Vatican's New Mystery. It's a different name in French. And Peter Crassa in 2000's book, Father Ernetti's Chronovisor, the creation and disappearance of the world's first time machine. Father Perugino Ernetti, who was a Catholic priest like Brun, invented a machine called the chronovisor that allowed him to view the past. Ernetti was real, however, the existence of the time machine or the machine, or whether it was even invented, was never proven. But he died in 1994, so we can't ask him. But yeah, basically what they could find with that was what I alluded to before, that they could see basically see snapshots or visions of the past, and it was said to be whether Jesus's crucifixion or other stuff along the lines.
You say chronovisor. Here's the term that I like to share with you guys. So astronauts, right? You go to space. If you're a time traveler and you travel in time, like Andrew did, they are called chrononauts. They have actual term to define people who travel through time. Chrononauts. I like the name.
It's pretty cool. I think it makes sense. I actually have one more story, if you don't mind me jumping.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I think out of all the stories that I saw there, this was one that I would say is the most plausible, in my opinion. Right. Okay, so it starts off with Royal Air Force Commander Sir Robert Victor Goddard, widely known as Victor Goddard, who is claimed to have experienced a time slip. In 1935, Goddard flew over what had been the RAF station Dream in Scotland on his way from Edinburgh to Andover, England. The Dream station was no longer used, and after demobilization efforts following World War One, it had mostly been left to its own devices, basically abandoned. And that's what he said that he saw when he flew over it the first time. On his return trip, though, things got weird. Yeah, he followed the same route and on the same way back, but during this flight, he was hit by a big storm. And as he struggled to regain control over the plane, he actually spotted the airfield, the Drem airfield, through a break in the clouds. And when he got closer to it, the bad weather sort of dissipated out of his view. And this time, the airfield wasn't abandoned; it was busy, with several planes on the runway and mechanics scurrying around. Within seconds of seeing that, the storm reappeared, and Goddard had to fight back his plane to keep his plane back alive, back in the air. And he made it home just fine and lived on for another 50 years. But his incident stuck with him all the way. And in 1975, he wrote a book called Flight Towards Reality, which included the discussion of the whole thing.
But you see, I think I know this story quite well that you talked about, and in fact, this is one of the more plausible time traveling compared to going back to time to find Christ, because what he saw in 1973, right? If I've got the date correct, or no, sorry, 1935,
Yeah.
1935, right? Where he flew that and he saw that vision. He came back and he told people about it. Because he thought at 1935, he actually traveled back in time when the airfield was still in use.
Yeah.
But what was really curious about it was in 1939, 4 years after his experience, the airfield was being used, and a lot of what he had seen in the past
Was
came
the
true.
current. Yeah.
So he didn't travel back in time. He traveled into the future, saw it, came back, spoke about it, and then it happened. So how do you explain that? That is a lot
Yeah.
more convincing to me.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's the main reason why I think this is the most plausible story.
Yeah.
And this, yeah, this is if we go into the whole, dark lightning. There's actually a show about it. If anyone on the stream actually watches the show called Manifest, it's actually it
yes.
used to be on the ABC network, but now it's on Netflix if you want to watch it. It's basically about the same premise. This plane takes off and gets hit by weather, and then when it comes back down, it's like what 5 years later. So
Manifest, yeah. Is that a foreign language one? Manifest?
no, it's an American one. I think the one you were referring to is, uh, I know what you're talking about. The one where they have to run from the sun, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's not time traveling one. That's a different.
That's some-
Okay, Manifest, yes. Okay, so the group of people came on board the plane, flew, disappeared for 5 years. Everyone thought they were dead. Came back down. To them, they were just landing.
And then they had powers,
Then they had
or
powers.
some
Okay.
open inverted powers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I seen that one, but I couldn't sit through the first episode because there was a whiny character that I just couldn't stand.
But yeah, I mean, I think this, that was really one of the more plausible stories out of anything.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few others like one more, especially with the name like Andrew Besagio that I talked about just now. He was with Project Pegasus, and he was working with DARPA for 10 years. He's been transporting back and forth. He claims that he was actually on Mars with, can you guess who? President Barack Obama. Back before he was president, and he was going by a different name called Barry.
Oh yes, yeah. I read about this too.
And he says he knew all the different presidents and how it was actually designed, predicted who's going to be president, including Donald Trump, and including a lot of the things that has happened throughout time. He knew about that. But my question is, why did he do anything to stop it? Apparently he can't, because you cannot interfere with the space-time continuum.
Okay. See, that's like we have 12 minutes left before we have to go off. So I'm gonna do my best, and how I'm gonna wrap this in a sense is why I don't think there have been any visits from people from the future, people from the past, or anything, because in that case, why hasn't anyone done anything? And okay, I think someone will probably quote me and say like, "Oh, there's the grandfather's paradox, where if you go back in time and you kill your grandfather and blah blah blah, then you won't be born, or your mother won't be born, and blah 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 whatever." See, there actually has been a study pretty recently. Let's see. I think it was done in New Zealand, or where basically it's theoretical. It's purely theoretical. And what they said is you can actually go back. It's possible to go back in time, and whether or not you were to change the future, whatever butterfly effect or whatever, the world will have its own way of sort of making whatever was meant to be. You know what I mean? It's a very
No, I don't know what you mean. Yeah. Explain that, please.
It's like, let's say you go back in time and you cause like a ripple. Whatever was meant to already happen will already happen, because again, this is theoretical physics, so I'm racking my brain here. But when you go back in time and let's say you kill your grandfather, something would probably still happen. Like maybe when you killed your grandfather, your grandmother was already pregnant. You know what I mean? Or if someone were to go back and kill patient 0 of COVID, then he would have code and he would move forward in the timeline, and then he would be patient zero. Yeah, basically, like what Alex Chu said, a new timeline forms.
I've got an easy explanation. Ready?
Let's go.
Okay. I feel I'm right. I feel, ladies and gentlemen, I have solved the space-time paradox once and for all. I know exactly how it's going to form. And this is, to me, when I look at all the possible explanations, this is the one. And this might also allude to a future episode where we're going to be talking about this particular topic. Okay? I got this idea as well from, who's that guy? This other podcaster, the guy who's UFC on, what's his name?
Which one? Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan Experience, right? They were talking about time traveling as well. He says something about if a time travel machine is formed now, in today, 6th of July, you can only travel forward and not back. You cannot go back. You can only go forward. And when that happens, time stops being a thing. Everything just happens at the very same moment, parallel across board. Okay? Now that didn't make a lot of sense to me at all. But what I then figured, based on that idea, if you, Matt, can travel through time, how can you travel through time if everybody's life is intertwined? Because changing anything is going to result in changing other things. And if everyone travels at the same time, what's going to happen? You will have a bottleneck. You will have chaos. But if you borrow the theory that every one of us lives in a simulation, again, this is like Umbrella Academy talking about simulation, right? There is a simulation theory of the world. And science has proven that in theory, it is possible that the world could be a simulation. We'll get to that next time, right? That's a different day to talk.
Yes.
But
oh my God.
Hear me out. If we are all in a simulation, and then it is then possible for me to travel any way I want, including over in my timeline or in your timeline, where we could jump across parallel universes at will. So what happens in your narrative, in your world, happens only in your narrative, in your simulation.
In your experience of the world.
Yes. And that is how everyone can time travel together, right? Because you're all in a freaking simulation. Which then goes to prove that this world is a simulation. How about that?
Oh God, there was so many moments there where my brain just went what, and just started melting. I was like, okay.
That's why it's called On The Fringe. It's like On The Fringe of sanity, guys.
Oh my God. Yes, to infinity and beyond for Buzz Lightyear. Yes, that's what we're going to talk about. But yeah, I mean, this is too big a topic, honestly, to fully get into a proper discussion. There are so many seminars on it. People meet up and talk about it, symposiums to argue about this kind of stuff.
Ivan is asking me if The Matrix is real. In fact, The Matrix, the movie, is based on books, and that is a concept.
Yeah, and guys, like I said, there's so many areas of. I've been receiving messages from people, my friends even. They're like saying, "Oh, you should talk about this. You should talk about everything else." Guys, there's so many areas of On The Fringe that we are yet to explore. We haven't even hit our. I don't know. Is this? I think
4?
next week would be our 1 month anniversary.
Yeah.
So we'll give you guys something special. There won't be a part 2, Ivan, but because if we went into part 2, then we're gonna be talking about stuff like parallel universes, which we want to have an entire episode on by itself.
Look, guys, I mean, if you're On The Fringe, we got a 1-hour show. Matt, Bill, myself. Again, we are not experts in the topic. We are just very interested, enthusiasts of On The Fringe stuff, conspiracy level stuff. And what we're trying our best to do is to give you these little nuggets of information to whet your appetite, inspire you, tickle your imagination for you to go out there and really dig below, like Orange Freak. He's like ufologist expert. So there are people out there who have a lot of knowledge that we would love to have on the show. But what we can do this 1 hour is really tickle your imagination, and hopefully that sort of gives you that push down the rabbit hole where you start digging for more stuff and find.
And then when you find more, you give it to us on the Discord channel, which is we are most of the time after the shows we are always there. Bill and I are always on the Discord. Last week actually was the reason why we had the discussion on like having a vote and like letting the community decide what it is. So if you want to suggest something for next week, meet us on the Discord or meet me and Eugene if he has time after this. Meet us on the Discord channel. We will run through some things that we could possibly talk about next week. I think from last week with the vote or the poll that we had, we still have grays. There's the reptilians that apparently run the world. That one we need Bill because damn, Bill will just run an insane hole on that one, and he'll probably get drunk because he keeps saying like. And then after that,
Like this whole world, like it's like reptilian, like.
there's so many likes that we don't know what's going on. But there's also parallel universes, multiverses, flat earthing, so many. So we'll probably add a new one since we had time travel. We'll probably add a new one on top of grays, as in grays. And what I mean by grays is aliens. And then reptilian people who run the world, like, yeah. And then
Like
third
the
one.
bloodline families, the 13 of them. Wow,
There's you can talk about the Illuminati, you can talk about the witch hunts, Salem witch hunts, all this sort of stuff. So meet us on the Discord channel and we will definitely work out something there.
Search for Discord, Supernatural Confessions, or if you're on Facebook and YouTube right now, just click on the link.
Yeah. Well, we have 3 minutes. Hopefully we gave you guys a very, very, very basic understanding of what the time traveling is. I think 1 hour is not enough, but this is where you guys go and do the research and come back to us too, because it'll be easy to share too. Just so you know, I'm just gonna stretch this. Probably not. We'll end at 11 exactly, but if you guys like to see, like Eugene on the show, maybe we'll bring Sonia on the show, or if you want to see us have a big gathering together. Please, someone just message Joe. When we talk about Australian cryptids, we're gonna get Joe on the show, and then call Kim, call everybody, and then we'll have a big meeting together. Eugene, you want to brief them on the secret, the show that we wanted to plan?
Yeah, I have this big dream that I want to have all the hosts, like a multiverse, a cross universe. This is the Supernatural Confessions multiverse crossover, where we have Jonathan Lim from Tuesday Ghost Mortem, we have Bill and Matt from On The Fringe, and of course our Friday Night Live show hosts, all in one episode. I don't know how we're going to do that, but ideally, if you could do that in person, it'd be great.
I think
in front of live audience, like different, like a little festival, a mini SupCon.
Like a meet and greet in a sense, where you can ask us all the questions you want, because sometimes we're not on Discord and we don't see everything that's there. But you put us all in the same spot, I think it would be look at that, Wes, nice multiverse confessions.
Yeah. So King is asking us to talk about Holy Grail the next time. Okay, maybe we can put that on this as well.
Yeah, we could actually. There's so many things. Oh man. But don't worry, guys. We're not leaving anytime soon. We just got a hiccup with Bill falling ill, but we'll be around for a while. So there's many things we can still talk about. All right. Well,
okay. I think
let's wrap it up.
Yep. I think you want to talk about this one, or no time for this? There's a Netflix show.
Yeah. You guys have the time. There's this show called The Call. It's a Korean show on Netflix. It kind of alludes to time travel, but it's basically where one person sort of communicates to someone in the past through a phone. It's a thriller kind of show, but if you have the time, please watch it. It's super good.
Okay. Well, it seems like we've come to the end of the show. 1 hour.
Yes.
Feels so fast.
Do you have your On The Fringe special one-liner?
Oh yeah, I got more than one line today, but yeah, go ahead. Shall I
You
go
go
with mine
you
first?
go.
Okay.
Yeah, you go with yours first.
We have ran, we have crawled, we have scaled these city walls, but we still haven't found what we're looking for on the fringe.
Damn, that was a long one-liner, dude. That was super long.
I was listening to you too, and I was like, damn, we were trying to find answers, but we still haven't found what we're looking for.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Now we know that Eugene has something packed for On The Fringe in case he comes back another time.
Yeah.
Oh, look, the clerk says that was a terrible one-liner. Oh,
I'll do a better one next time, guys.
okay. Well, thanks again for tuning in this Wednesday, guys. We are so grateful for your support. Bill's somewhere around. Hopefully he gets better soon and joins us again next week and get drunk. All right. But until then, guys, stay on the fringes. And thank you guys for tuning in. See you guys next week.
Good night, everybody. See you guys on Friday.
What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.